Welcome to Portfolio Tracker. My name is Michael Houghton. I'm probably best known as the host of the Irish Fire podcast. And if you're seeing this, congratulations, you are one of the very first people invited to try the Portfolio Tracker software. So Portfolio Tracker came about because I had struggled to find something that gave me the full flexibility that I needed to track my investment portfolio. And I also wanted something which kind of worked a little bit like accounting software, but was nowhere near as complicated. So I think you'll find that Portfolio Tracker will be a good alternative for you to try if you want to track your portfolio outside of using Excel. In this case, Joe Bloggs has decided he's going to give Portfolio Tracker a try, and he's created his account. And you'll see he is on this page here, which is our introduction page. And like most of you, Joe has an existing portfolio, and he's going to be bringing it across to Portfolio Tracker today. So Portfolio Tracker, because it's new and it's still in its early stages of development, it's currently only tracking assets from the 1st of January 2021 onwards. So if you are bringing a portfolio across, then we will need to enter in some opening balances, which I'm going to demonstrate how to do now. So the first thing we're going to do is click on the Add Asset button, and we're going to put in an asset name. I would recommend that we always start with our cash assets first. So in this case, Joe has a savings account with Bank of Ireland. He needs to select the asset type. So if you click on asset type, you can see that you can select cash or savings. And you'll see there's an entity drop down here. This is the default option of personal or pension. This just allows you to keep your portfolio separated between the various different entities. If you have assets in another entity, such as a corporation or a company, then when you register, you'll be able to set that up so that you can actually select your company name here and keep your assets separated. In this case, it's personal for Joe, and he has an opening balance of €1,000. Where it comes to the date, because we're bringing this in from an existing year, then we want to select the 31st of last year, so 31st of December 2020. You'll see why shortly. And where it says where from, again, becomes quite important later, but for now, because we're importing data, we're just going to go that this is a new asset that we're introducing to the portfolio. Description and notes comes in very handy when it comes to dividend payments and rent and things like that. I will demonstrate that later on. So we click Create Asset, and you'll see that that's gone into his portfolio nicely. It's currently 100% of the breakdown. So we're going to add some other assets. So Joe also has an account with DEGIRO. He has 100% of his portfolio in index funds. If you were to have different asset types, and you could break this down, for example, DEGIRO Gold or DEGIRO Unit Trusts or whatever you want to do. In this case, it's very, very straightforward. He could just do the whole DEGIRO account as the asset name because he's got everything in equities. Again, this account is in his own name. And as of the 31st of December, he had €5,000. This where from, again, you'll now see that his savings account is listed here. This is going to allow us to transfer between cash accounts later to buy assets. And I'm going to demonstrate that shortly. So you can see that this is now starting to populate. Joe also has a pension with Irish Life. Again, he has it 100% in equities, but this time the entity is pension, and he has €10,000 in his pension as of the end of last year. And we can see that that actually separates out into the two different entities now, and his portfolio is at €16,000. Joe got quite excited about Bitcoin when he heard that it hit €41,000 recently, so he decided to go and purchase some Bitcoin. He did that on the 8th of January. So we're going to go and set up his Bitcoin account. He transferred the money, €500, from his savings account to Coinbase and bought his Bitcoin through there. So in this case, we select cryptocurrency. Again, it's a personal. His opening balance is €500. This time we select the date that that transfer actually happened, which is the 8th. And we now select that he's paying this out from his savings account. We click Create Asset, and we can do a little bit of reading here to understand exactly what's going on. So the opening balance of the 1st of January, this should pretty much stay the same all the time, right? So in this case, Joe's opening balance at Coinbase is 0 because as of the 1st of January, he didn't have any funds in Coinbase. but he added funds throughout the year. So this is where you get this 500 euro from. And you'll see over at his savings account that his 1,000 euro that he started with has now been depleted by 500 euros. The net result is 0, which is why the total shows as 0 here. And you'll see his current balance is still the same because all he's done is make an internal transfer. However, we can click through to update, and we can actually see how these transfers actually happened. So his opening balance at the end of the year was 1,000 euros, and he made the transfer to Coinbase there to give him the 500 euros. This should very much look like a bank statement there. So again, you can see he's transferred that money from the savings account to Coinbase. Very, very simple at this stage. But let's consider how we actually update that when it comes to handling a few transactions. So today is the 23rd of January. So let's see what happens. Joe has had his account with Coinbase now for a couple of weeks, and Bitcoin has been rocketing up. So he decides that it's time to update his portfolio to reflect that. Now, this would typically be done at month end, or even at a quarter or 6 monthly period, or even 12 monthly period if you want to. In this case, we're going to do this monthly because Joe likes to know exactly how much he has in his portfolio. We're going to assume that today's the end of the month, even though it isn't. So Joe's going to come in here and he's going to click on Update Asset Price. He's going to put in today's date. He's going to put the new value, which is now 800 euros. So all he needs to do here is pretty much copy and paste from Coinbase exactly what that total is and put in the new total, and then click on Create Transaction. And you will see that Portfolio Tracker has automatically calculated that Joe has currently got a 300 euro profit and a 60% annual return on that investment and has updated his current balance. If we click on Update again, we can actually see that the capital gain has been recorded there at 300 euros. So this is kind of a real-time report. Now, obviously, if that changes, as it does every day, it will automatically adjust based on whenever he last entered the transaction. Portfolio Tracker is also smart enough to handle a few other things. It's actually pretty much smart enough to handle any type of transfer that we want. So in the case of Degiro, we might get a dividend payment, so we can also record that. So we'd come through and we would hit record income. Let's pretend that that was paid out yesterday for 5 euro. And we can now select where we want that income assigned to. And this gets quite handy when we have a rental property, because in the case of a rental property, the rent, for example, wouldn't be paid into the asset. It would instead be paid into a bank account or a savings account. So rather than having to record that against the asset, which wouldn't make any sense, it allows us to actually record it where it actually goes. So in the case of rent, it might be paid to you personally and then spent. That might be then received income outside portfolio, or it might be then reinvested into your savings account. So you'd actually select it into your savings account. In this case with Degiro, as you guys are probably aware, the dividend payment is actually paid into your Degiro account. So it would make sense just to put here paid into the asset, because it's actually increasing your overall amount that you have in Degiro. And you could put in here the fact that you got a dividend in your description or notes, and we create our transaction. So let's have a look. So Degiro started at 5,000 euros. We've added no money, but the balance is now 5,005 euro. And you can see that we've got a small return. If we have a look at our update, you'll see that it's actually recorded this dividend accordingly. We do have the option here to delete if we make a mistake, but as it is, on the day that we actually missed a transaction in there as well, so we actually got charged a Degiro fee, which happens from time to time. Let's put that in for today. We got charged a euro fee. Again, this is now the opposite. So instead of recording an income, we're now recording an expense. And again, it's paid from the Degiro account itself. So we can put in here annual fee. And we can click Create Transfer. And you'll see that that's immediately updated, and that's also got in there. So it allows us to handle all sorts of different scenarios. It also handles if we sell some of that. So I will actually show you guys that very, very quickly. So Joe decides he's quite excited by his Coinbase, and he decides that he's actually going to sell out 200 euro worth of his Coinbase account. I need to be a little bit careful because there is a known bug here. We'll see how that actually looks in a second. So now we have the option here to select where we're going to withdraw that account. We're going to select it into our savings account because we're actually cashing it back into our savings account. And we can click on Create Transaction there. So you'll see that the profit of 300 euros still remains, but our current balance has been adjusted. We originally transferred 500 euros, but now we've only transferred 300 euros because of the net adjustment. And if we go down to our savings account, we'll see that that transfer has been put back into our account accordingly. And over at Coinbase, we will see that that transfer has been made. I mentioned this in known bug here. This balance, obviously, that should not be 600 euro. That will be fixed in due course. But you can see in theory how that all works. And so basically, this is always going to give you an indication of where your portfolio is at. We can see the profit for the year is at 300 euros, which is great. I still need to add a overall percentage return here, which will be happening in due course. But it will also reflect on the current balance. And there's going to be a whole lot of reporting tools being added as well. So you can see this on a month-by-month basis, and also here have a date picker, so you can actually start selecting some date pickers here as well. So there's still a lot of work to be done for Portfolio Tracker, but I'm delighted to have you guys on board for an initial trial, and I would highly recommend that you register, and you're welcome to create an account, and I'll ensure that your information won't be deleted or changes as we make changes to the software. Obviously, it's very much in beta stage at the moment, but it is stable enough now that your data will stay there and you'll get the benefit of lots of future updates as we go forward. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me as well. Thank you.